Welcome back to R.A.I.N. This is part 2 of Constitution series of videos that I'm covering. And again, this is my opinion as far as what my people should be concerned about when it comes to the Constitution. Other Moors out there might have a different opinion, but this is strictly my opinion. And let's continue on. Let's start with Article 1, Section 9. Writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it. Okay? Moors that get kidnapped by the police, because most of the time, probably 90%, 99% of the time, we didn't kill or wound a citizen of the United States, but the police always arresting us or taking our property. But anyways, learn how to write a writ of habeas corpus. It's very important. Let's see. Article 9, no bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. That's important. Let's get ex post facto law out of the way. In the law dictionary, ex post facto law is any law that's been enacted after the fact. Like, for example, if something was not known to be a crime, was not considered to be a crime, but then laws are enacted making that action a crime, the police can't go and arrest someone for doing something before it was known to be a crime. That's ex post facto. You can't do that. And it also covers sentencing. Like, for example, if someone committed a crime and they had to do a year in jail or a year in prison or whatever, and then laws were enacted making that sentence longer, let's say 3 years instead of a year, they can't tack on 2 more years to that person's sentence. That's considered ex post facto, and that's prohibited by the Constitution. Okay, now let's get to Bill of Attainder. Bill of Attainder, it covers legislative act. Remember, legislative act, which is Congress, declaring someone guilty without judicial process or judicial proceedings. And it usually covers treason and felonies, which would result in death penalty. That's Bill of Attainder. Now there's something else called Bill of Pains and Penalties, which is for a lesser degree crime. And that's very important because I will cover it later on, but there hasn't been any judicial courts on this land since 1789. And so everything is Article 1, which is legislative. Article 3 is judicial. And like I said, there hasn't been a judicial court on this land since 1789. So the Bill of Attainder, or the Bill of Pain and Penalty, is something that's something that our people should be aware of, because if they're found guilty of something, then that was totally a legislative act. It wasn't judicial, since there are no judicial courts. And since I mentioned it, I want to give you the case law for it. Let's see. There are no judicial courts in America, and there has not been since 1789. Judges do not enforce statutes and codes. Executive administrators enforce statutes and codes. There have not been any judges in America since 1789. There have just been administrators. That's FRC versus GE 281 US 464, and also Keller versus PE 261 US 428. So there's your case law. And also the 11th Amendment. You need to read the 11th Amendment because it removed all judicial power from the inferior courts. And all the inferior courts are constituted by the Congress. They're known as Article 1 courts. They're not Article 3 courts. Only Article 3 court is the Supreme Court. Okay? Let's see, moving on. No title of nobility. That's something very important. All these lawyers out here, most of them have ESQ behind their name, at the end of their name. ESQ stands for Esquire. Esquire is a title of nobility. It's above a gentleman, but below a knight. So it would go gentleman, Esquire, and knight. And that's the title of nobility. And a lot of these lawyers, they take positions within Congress. And they have ESQ at the end of their name. Judges also, you're not supposed to have any title of nobility from another country. That would be a conflict of interest, because you take an oath to uphold the Constitution, but yet and still you have a title of nobility from a different country. That means you owe some sort of loyalty to them with that title of nobility. But moving on, Article 1, Section 10. No state shall enter into any treaty, grant letters of marque and reprisal, pass any bill of attainder, pass a law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. I basically covered all that already. The letter of marque and reprisal, bill of attainder, no law impairing the obligation of contracts. I mean, that's self-explanatory. And grant any title of nobility. That's Article 1, Section 10. Okay, moving on to Article 3, Section 1. Article 3 covers the judicial courts, or, the judicial branch of government. Article 1, as I stated before, covered the legislative branch of government, which is the Congress, which consists of the upper Congress, which is the Senate, and the lower Congress, which is the House of Representatives. And Article 2 obviously covers the executive branch of government, which is the President. This video is coming to an end. I will pick up in part 3 and cover Article 3 of the Constitution. But for now, peace.